Well, all right. Welcome to the 2021 recap episode. We've had another great year here on the Pool Chasers podcast. We once again navigated a year of pandemic-related challenges, and we've reached over 300,000 downloads. We had a ton of amazing guests this year who all shared a tremendous amount of value with us, and as always, we want to thank them for their time to record with us. We also want to thank all of our sponsors and Patreon supporters. You truly help the podcast continue to be produced and get better with each year. And of course, we want to thank all of you, our amazing, amazing listeners, because without you, the show cannot continue. Interacting with you is still our favorite part. We want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. So without further ado, let's jump into the 2021 recap episode.
Welcome to your go-to podcast for the pool and spa industry. My name is Tyler Rasmussen.
And my name is Greg Viafania. And this is the Pool Chasers Podcast.
134.
I'll hold the phone up, and I'll show this is how much water chemistry I do. And it's just this inundation of Excel spreadsheet colors and, numbers. And I said, I don't expect you to understand this at all. And they're like, okay, good, because I don't, And I just said, I just want you to know that this is how thorough I am with my water. And so typically, like I mentioned before, if their pool is very hard or there's stuff that's going to take me much longer than having to drain the water, then I'll tell them, there's certain steps that we need to take before we just start service.
135.
They're pre-recorded training modules on a wide variety of subjects. So we have a module on enzymes specifically. We have a module on phosphate removers. We have a module focusing on scaling, and then another one that focuses on staining. So we have this lineup of modules that we're building a presentation and then recording so that those are able to be accessed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, on your time, on whenever it's convenient. And those will cover a wide variety of topics that hopefully will give great background information. Again, a good way to train new hires on specific technologies and products. Each one of them contains our products that are relevant to the particular topic. And again, they're completely standalone. They're narrated, so you can listen to them. You're watching them like a video, and they're going to provide a lot of information that's at your fingertips.
136.
We worked with them from 2004, and finally in late 2012, the product came to fruition. But it was a solid 7-year plus project, and I've got file folders a mile long about all the different parts that went into that. One was, of course, making these dried reagents that would go into this little disc. They come out of these micro syringes that we have here in our production area, and they have to be dried. They get taken through a tunnel. They're dried, and in some cases, we have to come back and put a pellet in later. So like on the phosphate test, it's a 2-part test. But we had to figure out the exact way to put the reagent in there, to dry it, to get the water to mix in properly.
137.
Bob did not value engineer a single piece of equipment for his facility. Zero. Nothing. And that's huge, because most people, let's cut this out, let's cut that out. Zero. So that says a lot to his commitment for his people that he serves, both his employees as well as his clients as well, which is unheard of.
138.
You can only focus on those numbers for so long before they start to all run together. And we've had lots of people say, man, I every month could count on forgetting to charge for some little thing I installed, or maybe I'll add up these chem dosages wrong and end up undercharging for them. And yeah, that happened all the time. And so coming onto our system where you don't really have to remember anything, it's going to remember it all and gather it all together for you. That right there just takes a weight off your mind, because you got a system that's doing it for you.
139.
So if you're listening and you're like, I'm the best pool guy in my area and I don't have all the work because, XYZ has it, then probably the only missing part is probably the branding. If you're legit the best at what you do, and you feel like you aren't getting the accounts that you should be getting or the pricing that you should be getting, more than likely it's the branding.
140.
Luckily, this is all science, right? So it's not subjective, it's all very objective. So when you explain it to them, especially if, maybe after today you listen to this podcast and you never understood that's what's happening. You never understood it was high velocity, low pressure, and that's why air comes out of a solution. Maybe now when you talk to that customer intelligently about it, they're going to trust you and they're going to go look it up and realize it's real. Sometimes that doesn't work and they don't believe you, and then you have to actually pressure test it and show them, look, it's not leaking, but it still has air bubbles, and this is all it can be, because that's really all it can be.
141.
I think just for me personally, it was part of growing up the way I did, was told it wasn't going to amount to much. And I wanted something that was completely mine and wanted to build my life the way I wanted it and whatnot. And I'm just the type of person that I would want my own opinion in something. You know what I mean? And I'm wanting to do this type of stuff for myself instead of waiting for somebody else to do it and just be part of the piece. I was just, ready to go out on my own.
142.
Unfortunately, with this shortage, it's really put some pressure on folks with pricing and with supply. So that I feel terrible about that for these folks out there. But, it's good to know that PoolRx is available, and it's at pricing that makes it so affordable and really the most cost-effective way to manage your pools.
143.
Yeah, you had to get out of your comfort zone. You had to get into a zone where it was very challenging for you. You can never let your guard down. You had to put your nose to the grindstone and keep going. Otherwise, you'd fall behind and you'd be stagnant one day. There's just a lot of pool builders that went out of business because when the things did slow down, there was no business for them. Whereas we were getting still quite a few referrals, and that's what kept us going.
144.
So people say, how does ozone compare with chlorine? There's great differences in the two of them, and there's some similarities. But it's all about putting the right amount of ozone, just like it would be with chlorine, in your application. So if you could put a teaspoon of chlorine in your washing machine, and it might sanitize your clothes, but you put that same teaspoon of chlorine in your 30,000-gallon pool, and it wouldn't do much. And ozone's quite the same way.
145.
If I'm a businessman and I'm doing a home service, I got an HVAC guy across the street, and I'm doing a pool across from him. And he's doing a checkup on air conditioning, and I'm there the same amount of time he is. We both pull up and both leave at the same time. I mean, hey, man, that guy's getting $168 for a visit, and I'm not even getting that per month, and I'm here 4 times, he's here once. There's something wrong.
146.
I'm saying to myself, well, if only someone would just make it just this way, then my life would be a little easier. Somebody ought to make it, just like that. And then I realized, I said to myself, well, wait a minute, if somebody does make it, I'm going to be pretty mad at myself because that means I thought of this and I didn't even do it myself.
147.
If you can love every moment of your day and love what you're doing every day, you can't help but love what you're doing during the day. And that's what has led us to building this kind of funky, quirky company that lets us play. Our kids are involved every day. I'm slinging mud with the girls and we're shooting stuff and we're just kind of playing. And the amazing thing is we create these crazy, fun, cool projects that people couldn't have even imagined were possible.
148.
CPR could be used in a variety of settings. And you're right. Most people think CPR drownings. But it could be something as simple as you're at a store and someone just collapses. Because you don't know when it's going to happen. Most of the time when people go into cardiac arrest, when their heart stops, 80% of the time it does happen outside the hospital setting. Which is why it's so important that we have more people that are trained in CPR because you don't know when it's going to happen.
149.
Acid magic is much safer than hydrochloric acid. But it is a very powerful acid. The nice thing about our product is it is just as powerful as hydrochloric acid. So you can get a safer product, but you don't have to change how you use it. A lot of products that are advertised as environmentally friendly or safer are actually less effective than the original that they're advertising against. That's one downfall that acid magic does not have. It is a powerful acid, and even though it's safer, we tell people to always make sure to use it with respect.
Hey Pool Pros, my name is Zach Singer.
And I'm Bryce Sarine. We're here with Beyond Pool Cleaning in Scottsdale, Arizona, and this is your Skimmer Tip of the Week. So, back in 2017, one of the main reasons we started using Skimmer was for automated service emails that it sends to our customers after each service stop. And since then, we have done a lot to really get the most out of them.
Oh yeah, it starts off as a nice recap of readings, dosages, and checklist items, but there's several options to really take it to that next level. Customizing the default message in the service emails is a game changer. This can lead to so many great opportunities. Remember when we updated it to promote the variable speed pumps and we sold 3 in the first week?
Yeah, and giving our customers information about pool chemistry and CYA so they understood why we recommend draining their pools occasionally.
Not only educating, but communicating. Like how we let them know when we're going to be offered Thanksgiving and Christmas. My all-time favorite's when we started the photo contest.
Right. We challenged our team to add a personal touch, like adding photos of the dogs or making sure the pool looked great. Then you noticed that a really good-looking photo got forwarded to our customers' friends. So we had to add referral messages as well.
We had a lot of fun with that one, especially when our customers took notice of the extra effort.
Just another way Skimmer helped us market to and educate our customers.
To find out more, check out episodes 138 and 154 of the podcast, or go to getskimmer.com/poolchasers. That's getskimmer.com/poolchasers. This episode of the Pool Chasers podcast is also brought to you by Primate Pool Tools. All right, by now you've heard us talk about our friends at Primate Pool Tools, right? All their poles are made with aerospace-grade carbon fiber, which offers 10 times the strength of aluminum at half the weight. This allows you to cut through the water with ease. They have options for any level of commercial and residential maintenance with multiple models of poles to choose from, as well as an extension system that can extend the reach of any pole up to 40 feet. Primate Pool Tools continues to lead the way in carbon fiber technology by now offering stainless steel version of their flagship 2X and 3X models that are ideal for heavy vacs, as well as custom limited edition designs and brand new custom grips. All the Primate poles are handmade in the USA, come with a 1-year commercial warranty, and most importantly, top-notch customer service. Right now, you can get $20 off your order by using Pool Chasers 2021. That's Pool Chasers 2021 at checkout. And make sure to listen to episode 104 or click the link below for more information. 150.
If you don't understand how to approach leaks properly, you're going to hunt and peck, and you're not going to know where to start, and you're not going to have a systematic approach that's going to help you get to a conclusion. But the tools that we make and what we try to teach, and the reason we talk about logic and testimony and observation being different, is we want to try to make it be an efficient task at the job site.
151.
There's a lot of people that can talk, but when you put the action behind your words, when you're telling somebody this is what we can offer, what we can provide, and you go put the action behind it, that instills and builds that trust, whether it be with a teammate or whether it be with a customer, that they can start to depend on that other individual. And once you have that trust that's built there, that confidence level that increases, you have a great foundation for a relationship and a great foundation for a partnership.
152.
The salesperson will be talking to the customer, and if the customer says they want financing, they'll either direct them to me right away. I'll come down to their office. We have a conversation about the financing, about what kind of products that we can offer them, what the interest rates are ranging from. I try to do like a quick assessment of, what their credit scores are, if they've had any recent past, any type of credit issues at all. And then kind of give them an idea of where they're going to be, what their payments are looking like. And then once they sign that contract, then we're ready to go.
153.
I think that it's a good fit for the residential side now with the shortage on trichlor that we have. People are going to have to look at options. And Cal Hypo's not the only option out there. But it's a great option for those guys that want kind of a quick, easy switch over without the headaches and the price increases that we're seeing.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to go away anytime soon.
154.
It's not just about cash flow, it's about profitability. But when you're working all day and you're exhausted at the end of the day, it's tough to think about that, right? And you focus on being an operator instead of on being an owner. And that's one thing that Jack is driving within the company is we make operators more efficient, but we've got to get our owners, our customers to think like owners. not operators, all the time. And that makes them more successful. And when they're more successful, we'll be more successful.
155.
One of the probably important things in this industry is that, us as manufacturers, we can't lose sight of what occurs downstream, right? We don't have that clear visibility. We sell that product to a distributor. That distributor then sells that to the dealer. The distributor doesn't then see the visibility of where that product is at the consumer level. And I think from a manufacturer perspective, we really need to stay close through every single of the stages downstream, so that way we can make better products. We can support our dealers more. We can understand their pain points and learn how to support better.
156.
Communication, I think, is key in success for this, because if you're not communicating it, then absolutely you're going to get more kickback from your customers than if you can clearly explain why you're doing it and how it's impacting your business before and after a price increase. And so typically, like in a normal environment, we usually like to give 60 to 90 days notice before we increase prices. This is clearly not a normal environment that we're in right now. So in this case, we gave less than a month's warning. We sent out a mass email and just thoroughly explained supply chain issues, people issues, rising costs across the board. And so, it was probably about a 3-paragraph email. So it was very well articulated why we're doing this, what the impact of the current economies is on the pool industry. And that's where we got such positive feedback with that level of communication on the price increase, even with short notice.
157.
We focus a lot on like the life cycle of the pool. I mean, the pool has a life, right? Most of the time they're built and brand new. It's when you have smaller kids, right? And there's a certain set of things that you want in and around the pool during that time. When they get to be teenagers, that's probably a different set of stuff. And then when they're gone and it's just you and the wife, right? You probably want a different kind of vibe or approach to the pool.
158.
Once we figured out we're going in a different direction, we're not crashing and burning. Invest in inventory. That's the opportunity. So that's been happening. Will continue to happen because when you're running a business, you can say, "Oh, I can build a bunch of plants and I can add more tools and more people," but we don't know what the future is going to bring. And could the industry level off or really drop off? We don't believe there's going to be a drop off. We believe there's a leveling, but the leveling is still going to be higher than the industry's experienced in previous years.
159.
I think by the end of this conversation, we should all be able to sell a variable speed pump effectively. The benefits outweigh the costs in almost every case, whether it's energy efficiency, saving money, performance, sound, quality of the product, the lifetime of the product. All of these things kind of play in, but there's a lot of more benefits than there are costs.
160.
I think this has never been more important than it is right now, right? I mean, for years and years, we've enjoyed consistency, plenty of availability of the chemicals that we use, and now we took a lot of that for granted. Now we're having to really struggle with that a lot around the country. A lot of products are in short supply, and prices have gone up significantly, and so it's extremely important to know your costs and be able to manage those on a per route, per customer, even per visit basis, so that you can make sure that you're making money. No one wants to go out there and work as hard as we do, and then at the end of the day not have any money left over. And so it's extremely important to be able to find a way to do that.
161.
Our goal is to acquire companies and not change them. We're not forcing a franchise model like a McDonald's where everything is the same no matter where you go. That doesn't appeal to me. Being able to keep the local culture that you have built at your branch and you run the day-to-day the way you have, your employees know you, the management, all that stays the same. And from the back end, MPP's there to support that branch, right, and to help them achieve these goals. It's a win-win for the employees, the sellers, the customers, and the company.
162.
Some of the bigger trends that we're seeing, and I think the biggest one that's been the most interesting to watch has been companies going public. There's companies in the pool industry that are now being traded on the U.S. stock market in October. Leslie's did their initial public offering. Then Hayward did theirs in February. And then Latham came up and did theirs in April. And so what's fascinating about that to me is that, you know, everybody in the pool industry knows that things are going really well right now. It's booming. There's a lot of challenges, but there's, you know, a lot of money coming into the pool industry. And it's great to see outside investors confirm that and say, yes, you are a viable industry. You have something to offer, and we definitely want to put our money behind you.
163.
One of the things I try to do at the very beginning of a design process is bring in costs. And I tell people, this is dream reality. Okay, we're going to talk about the dream, but we need to also talk about reality, because if we don't, we're going to spin our wheels through this whole thing and we're not going to get where you want to be.
164.
I'm a very growth mindset, guy. I always think about growing, always think about marketing. And I think if you're not doing that, you miss the opportunity. The market determines when somebody's looking for a new pool. So if you're not looking for the opportunities, you're missing those opportunities. And right now, the market's crazy, as everybody knows. There's lots of available opportunities for sure. And then the other thing that I like to say in response to that is you should be constantly working at refining your customer base. So maybe you have accounts on the edge of your service area or maybe there's accounts that you really don't like all that well. If you continue to market, you continue to look for new clients, you can refine your service base. That's more direct with how you like to do business. And the last thing on that is market saturation gives you an edge over your competition.
165.
This website's another example of demonstrating our commitment to the pool trade professionals. You know, we've done it with the Pro Partner Program. We've had the Leslie's Pro Store concept that we've expanded across the country. And now with the Leslie's Pro website, we're putting another element out there that is supporting and highlighting the pool trade professional. And you talked about the convenience of the website. You've got all these locations. We're out on a property. We're missing a part. You can go to the website, purchase an item, and drive down to the store, and it's going to be waiting for you. You know, or the night before, I've got this job coming up tomorrow. Let me go look to see where those items are. And you can make those purchases, pick them up in the store, or have them delivered. And that's a great advantage for the pool trade professional.
This episode of the Pool Chasers podcast is brought to you by Leslie's. As a pool service professional, it's important to have the right partners. Leslie's values the important work you do to serve your local communities, and they want to help. With the new Leslie's Pro Partner Program, you can take advantage of the benefits only Leslie's has to offer. As a member of the program, you will get customer referrals and wholesale pricing. Additionally, you can take advantage of Leslie's extended hours during the week and on the weekends. When we were running Brothers Pool Service, we often used Leslie's when we needed supplies, especially on the weekends, and since they have over 900 locations, they were convenient to get to. They also offer free in-store services like water testing and cleaner repair. To learn more, check out episode 151 of the podcast, or stop by your local Leslie's store today to sign up for the program. This episode is also brought to you by Lion Financial. Partner with the industry leader in swimming pool loans, Lion Financial, to make backyard dreams come true. Lion Financial has financing options for swimming pool and home improvement projects of $5,000 and above, including pool equipment. The program offers your customers the very best in pool financing solutions, including rates as low as 2.99%, terms up to 25 years, unsecured loans up to $150,000, options available for credit scores of 620 and above, and no consulting fees. Long-term loan options are now even more affordable, with rates as low as 4.99% for a 20-year term for up to $125,000. It is absolutely free for pool contractors to partner with Lion Financial. Financing options make it easier for your customers to say yes to a pool. Lion Financial never charges prepayment penalties or consulting fees to your clients and partners with both you and your customers until the project is complete. Lion Financial pays pool professionals directly, ensuring you are paid on time and in full, and now offer more flexible draw schedules to better match your contract. When it comes to something as important as a pool, work with true professionals who have the best interests of both you and your customers in mind. With more than 42 years of experience specializing in pool financing solutions, why trust anyone but the experts? Call Lion Financial today or click the link below for more information. 166.
I ran across this article the other day, and I wanted to bring it up in this because, according to Reuters, freight has gone up 550% from a year ago. Yes, I'm gonna read it. Okay, so this is from Reuters. We'll link to the article, but it says the spot price per container on the China-U.S. East Coast route, one of the world's busiest container lanes, has climbed over 500% from a year ago. And this came out August 5th to $20,804 this week. Freight tracking firm Freightos said. That compares to just under $11,000 on July 27th. So it went up by like $9,000 in
8 days.
Yes.
Or 9 days.
So, I mean, it's just,
that's
insane. And so when we talk about, we look at the price increases and we look at how costs are going up. And this is just something to keep in mind, right? Is that this is what the manufacturers are having to deal with right now.
167.
When you look at the success of sports athletes at that level, there's something we can all take away from that is they are practicing the fundamentals. They prepare. They have the mental discipline, right? But they are doing this whether they're being watched or not. So in our role when we're in backyards or serving customers, is I was taught early on by really helpful people is you're not punching a clock. You're here to get something done. You have to return value to your organization. And so that means be disciplined in yourself, whether it's your own company or you're working in an organization like I always have, is always perform like you're being watched, like your boss is about to walk in. If you do every day like that, treat that customer like he's a friend of the business. If you just make that your MO, you're going to find your daily stuff becomes so much easier because you've got that mental discipline.
168.
Sure. When an owner decides to sell their business, it's an entirely personal, emotional decision process. They've got to go through some soul searching for whether this is right for them. And clearly one of the main factors that they think about is their legacy. What happens to the legacy that they've built, the company that they've put their sweat into for decades, that they've cradled from birth, right? And what will happen to that?
169.
Well, all we do is the water chemistry part. We don't do anything else. So if you sign up for the Sutro Pool Concierge, we send you the lead. Because water is different in local market, right? It's different in Houston than it is in San Francisco, well waters and all the things we deal with locally. So we'll send those leads to you. We want to partner with the service techs and the pool guys, not cannibalize their business. And in fact, we're trying to make them more profitable and try to make them more efficient. So it's a partnership.
170.
So the other thing, I know that there's been the big merge between the National Swimming Pool Foundation and the APSB, the Association of Pool and Spa Professionals, and now they're the PHTA. So there's been all of that's been going on for the last couple of years. But what is finally happening now that is exciting is that they have kind of gotten all of the programs and education between the two organizations blended into some cohesive, what they're calling pathways. And so it's great because if you're coming into the industry or if you're new to the industry or even if you're not, you have a really clear path for getting the education that you want and learning what you want to learn.
171.
What you guys and girls have to understand and get out of the mindset of is that you're going to lose business because you're showing people what you're doing. I haven't lost anybody. Right. I gained more than I lost. Because at the end of the day, even if I give out all this information, only about 5% of people are going to actually duplicate that step for their own pool. 90 to 95% of people don't want to clean their pools. That's why you're in business.
172.
If we look at it, the fleet is probably the biggest expense that you have. And maintaining that, you can't stress it enough. Fleet typically is going to fall second to payroll. But when we look at fleet, that's the main living thing, right? That's what's helping you generate your revenue. That and your employee, those are your two biggest assets. And fleet, staying on top of that can't be stressed enough. The other thing, too, you mentioned Pep Boys and Discount Tire. There's a lot of those national chains. that are tied in with that, and you can set thresholds. So if you have a driver go to one of these places, you can set that threshold that if it's $200 or less, regardless of what it is, go ahead and just, replace it.
173.
You build those systems, and then when you want to do it to something new, it's just kind of copy and paste, right? It's almost a lot of the things you're talking about, like your ethos and what you stand for. It's pretty easy to say, hey, we do that for pools, but also the same thing for uniforms. It's a little bit easier when the groundwork's already done. And what I'm trying to say is starting it's easy, then forming it and actually turning it into something else, that takes time. There's no shortcuts there.
174.
I am going to give some shout outs to some people who have helped us out with a local project. Kind of through some family connections, I found about this little girl in Oklahoma City. She has a fatal genetic disorder, and pretty much being in water is the only time that she is not in pain. And so we got together with some people in the industry to provide her with a swim spa, which was amazing. And so Master Spas donated the swim spa, Leisure Concepts donated the accessories, but then there were some local pool and spa professionals who helped us out. So Ryan Frank from Aquahaven, he made sure that the swim spa got delivered and installed. The guys from Spartan Pool and Patio, Sam and Jordan, who I love so much, they poured the pad for us. Dane Griffin from Griffin Electric, he donated the electrical work for everything. The crane company donated to crane it in. Like, it was just really cool how this all came together to really help out this family and this little girl who really can benefit from having water therapy at her home.
175.
What we're talking about here is what's on the real near horizon. To understand the difference, currently Google pay-per-click, top of the page, right? You're buying keywords and you show up for those keywords and people visit your website. From there, they convert to a phone call or a form fill. What Google's introducing into the pool industry for both pool builders and pool cleaners is going to be a new top of page directory that is going to dramatically change the business.
176.
There's many reasons why a customer might need to be fired. Three that have always stood out to me that have, I think, been really our top three usual suspects of when I go back and look at all the customers we fired in the past. Usually it's related to payment, misaligned expectations, or treating our people in an abusive or unfair way. Those, I'd say 95+% of the customers we fired in the past, it's one of those three things that they've done.
177.
It is literally like a superpower. When that switch clicks in your brain, when you've really healed and you've let it go, and then you embrace these gifts that you have, that you receive from your trauma, and you realize, man, like, I am who I am because of the trauma I went through. And I'm an amazing human being that now has these superpowers that they could use for good. You guys are sitting here with me. You guys see my body language. I'm stone cold serious about this. And when you think about your trauma in that way, and you think about, I'm going to unlock my superpowers, and you start to run towards that, it's amazing how quick you can heal. It's amazing how quick you can heal and let go of the rest of the stuff.
178.
I think the thing that's cool about this, like you mentioned, they call it a vendor agnostic automation system, which I think that wording is so fantastic. But I mean, when you look at a pool pad, right? And I mean, let's be real. The opportunity in our industry is to take care of the thousands and thousands of pools that already exist. And when you build a pool, a lot of times you use all the same brand of equipment when you first build that pool. But 15 years down the road, have you ever seen a pool that has all the same manufacturer on the pad?
No.
No, you don't. It just doesn't exist. And so as we bring these tools into the 21st century, you know, people are going to want to be able to control them with their phones. They're going to want to have that automation. And I think we need a way that we can provide that for them. And so, yeah, I think this is a great option and something that I'm excited to hopefully see take off.
179.
You go through the safety switch loop, and they're all electrical switches that are either normally open or normally closed. For instance, a pressure switch is normally open. It's not closed unless there's water pressure. So then it'll close. Same with limit switches. They're normally closed, and if they overheat hot water inside the exchanger, it's going to open, disconnect the electrical circuit. So this is where we were talking about a voltmeter is important, because you can just go through each switch and like determine, is my pressure switch open or closed? It's closed. Okay, not my pressure switch. And then you just go from switch to switch, and it's really easy to determine issues with those when you have diagnosed several in the past and you're in and out.
180.
You want to be able to outline some of those expectations in a job description. I think that's kind of like your baseline. And then from there, when you have an employee that you've hired and you've trained and they are struggling, they're not meeting your expectations, I think you need to be able to show, okay, well, here's my written expectations. We've talked about these expectations. And so now I need to document your performance issues against those expectations, right? And I think from there, it's making sure you're having regular conversations with your employees, even if it's a 10, 15-minute check-in every week, or maybe a half-hour sit-down once a month.
181.
She's a part of Modest Needs, which funds go directly towards whatever that family needs. So it could be rent, it could be a utility bill, something like that. So that way we know that those funds are going directly to help them. Back up a little bit to the foundation, and what it was is like, when my wife and I first met, we didn't have a lot. And this is kind of like our way. We know how scary it can be to be single parents, having children, and facing the holidays. Like, it's crazy. It can be very scary. And that kind of played in with the whole scary Christmas foundation. And to know that like Christmas can be a scary time if you don't have to give to your family. And so that was another part that stemmed the foundation and what she really wanted to give back.
Hey, Pool Chasers. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed the episode. To connect with today's guests, including pictures, links, and resources from everything discussed today, you can visit the episode page at poolchasers.com or click the links below. To connect more with us, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter by searching at Pool Chasers. If you would like to support the podcast, the easiest and most effective way is to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as share the show or your favorite episode with a friend or on social media. Also, you can get early access to each episode by supporting us through Patreon. We know your time is valuable, so thank you for sharing some of yours with us today.
See you out there, Pool Chasers.